Right here in front of me is the European Workbench from Highland Woodworking. This workbench measures about 4.5 feet long, 20 inches wide, by about 33 inches off the floor. It's got two vices. We've got one here on the front left and another one here at the end. The top, of course, is perfectly flat work surface, which is critical on a workbench, and it has dog holes drilled into it in line with both the end vise and the front vise. And the vices have dog holes in them too, and I'll go ahead and show you how we can make use of those dog holes. There are even some dog holes on the legs here on the front that you can take advantage of. And the workbench actually comes with 4 bench dogs to use. This bench comes disassembled in various parts. There's the top, and the vices and hardware, lower shelf, the legs, etc. And it goes together pretty quickly. Comes with the instructions how to put it together. Of course, it comes with all the hardware you need to put this together. So that goes pretty quickly, and in no time you'll have this bench ready to go. Honestly, one of the best features about this workbench is its affordability. It's a solid wood workbench. It comes with 2 vices, all the dog holes already drilled. It's simple to put together, and you'll be up and running with this bench. You'd be hard-pressed to buy all the lumber and the hardware, vice hardware and other supplies for the same price, let alone the time it's going to take you to build a workbench of this size. And with those savings, you can get started on your hand tool collection, which you absolutely want to be using with a bench of this quality. Now, one of the concerns I had when I first saw this workbench, and you might be thinking this too, is that it doesn't look that big or heavy. And I read I need a massive top and a big base for my workbench so that it doesn't move around. I'm going to be using this for hand tool operations, and you definitely don't want your workbench moving when you go ahead and pass a hand plane over a workpiece. Now, I have in my shop a concrete floor, which is pretty typical in a basement or a garage. And honestly, I really haven't had a problem with this moving during the operations that I've been using it for. But it could be a problem, and Highland Woodworking has come up with a really simple solution. They sell this non-skid rubber material. It comes in a larger mat, and you can cut it to exactly fit under the feet of this workbench. And that gives you a great non-skid material between the workbench and your floor that'll hold this bench in place. Now let me go ahead and show you with nothing underneath the feet, just resting right on my concrete floor. Go ahead and push this. I'm going to do some downward pressure and across, and I can get this to move, skid a little bit if I put pretty significant pressure. Let me go ahead and install this rubber material and show you what happens then. This is simple non-skid rubber material. Highland sells in larger pieces, and then you can go ahead and cut it to exactly the width and length of these legs. Slip it onto the floor, lift the bench up, slip it right under there, and bench back down, and you're ready to go. Now that I've got that rubber material installed under the feet, let me go ahead and try pushing this workbench again. Same pressure down and across, giving it some little bumps, definitely not moving. Now with this bench set up, let me show you some close-ups of typical operations I do at my workbench so you can get a sense of this bench and how we can take advantage of its features. Now at the bench, I'm typically working on the face or the edge or the end boards or even assembled pieces. So first operation, be flattening maybe a face or hand planing or final smoothing a face. I like to use a planing stop. I can use these dog holes here right at the end. Pop 2 dogs down in there and just butt that up against the workpiece, right against those dogs, and then you've got a simple planing stop that I can just hand plane straight across into those dogs. This is a really fast way of working on faces. You don't even need to clamp when you're ready to do the other side or another piece. Simply take the piece away, get your next one going. No vices to loosen or anything like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on an edge. Flip that up. Get my edge here and pop that into, say, this front vise. Open that up, cinch it down, and I can go ahead and work on this edge now. Really simple. Now, if I'm working on a face and I really do want to pinch it between two dogs, I can come here to my end vise and pop a dog there in the end, grab another dog and pop it right here at the front of my workpiece, and go ahead and pinch that workpiece now in this end vise. Cinch that up, pinch it down, and now I can go ahead and work that. Now, these bench dogs that come with the workbench are good for material up to 1 inch. So these dogs just drop right down, and if your workpiece is thicker than 1 inch, you're fine. If it's thinner than 1 inch, you're going to be hitting this metal, obviously not a very good idea. So Highland, of course, sells other bench dogs that will be useful for thinner material. And finally, I want to work on the end of my workpiece. Maybe I want to cut it to length. I can grab a simple homemade bench hook, which just means it's got a little piece of wood here on the underside that hooks onto the front of this bench. And I can go ahead and support my workpiece and maybe cut it to length. And if I want to clean up that end, maybe on a shooting board, again, I can grab my shooting board. Has, again, a bench hook there. Hook it to the front of the bench, get my workpiece up here, and now I can shoot the end of this nice and square, clean that up. The other thing that's great about this bench is working on large pieces of wood. It's got a nice large surface, so I can get this large piece up here if I need to work on the face. But say I need to work on the edge of this huge piece of wood. Well, what we can do is use one of these front bench dogs, pull that out a little bit, and use that in combination with the front vise. Rest the board on there, pop it into the front vise, clamp that down, and now this board is easily held there, and I can go ahead and work this long edge. Besides using the front vise and the end vise for clamping, you can grab clamps off your clamp rack and go ahead and use this bench in a variety of ways. Obviously, you can go right here on the front. This front apron is about 3.5 inches high and about 1 inch deep. So I can clamp, right here to the edge, clamp work pieces down. I can even use the dog holes here for hold fast and bang down a hold fast right on here. And I can clamp to the front of this apron. I grabbed a parallel jaw clamp and can go ahead and clamp to the front, clamp a workpiece to the front here this way. And I can even clamp from underneath the table. It's completely clear right here in the front. So you can take that same parallel jaw clamp and come across underneath and grab your workpieces that way. The lower shelf on the workbench, of course, is awesome for keeping all of your tools and workbench accessories close at hand. Besides just working faces, edges, and the ends of boards, I use my workbench all the time for assembly. It's a completely dead flat surface, so it's perfect for assembling projects. Whether I've got a little end table like this that I'm putting together, I know I've got a reference surface, that my legs are perfectly in the same plane here at the bottom, or if I'm just joining a couple of pieces of wood and I need them to be perfectly square, I can rest one right there on the surface and know that it's going to be in place as I go to put the other one perfectly square to that piece. Let's not forget, a workbench can also be used with power tools. Here I've got what are called bench cookies, and these are non-skid surfaces you place on the workbench, and then you can put your workpiece on it, keep it in place. I can grab my sander now, and this is a really great height for go ahead and sanding or finishing this surface. Or you need to put a profile on here, I can grab my handheld router and go ahead and route around the edges of my workpieces. So this bench is also obviously great for those handheld power tools. So that is the European Workbench from Highland Woodworking. Solid wood surface, 2 vices, lower shelf, all the bench dog holes already drilled, easy to put together, and super affordable, which makes it a great first bench if you're just getting started, but it also makes it a great bench as another workbench in an existing shop. You need another flat surface, more work holding power. This bench could fit those needs also. So a bench like this, you can easily get it into your shop, get it assembled in no time, and you'll be ready to go.